G'day beautiful people, welcome back to another edition of Bogan's Opinion. Today we're going to be moving on to the gold division of Paragon. I'm going to focus on one specific problematic attitude today, but first, the gold division in general. Golds for the most part have a very good understanding of Paragon and Monolith. The majority run good builds on the heroes, with some exceptions like the Chimera I played against a few days ago that was running a card that gives you bonus crit against bleeding targets. They understand what a good team composition is, they understand what heroes are good in each of the positions, they rotate pretty well. In general, they're very good players. But unfortunately, for all the good, there is always a bad. And there are actually a few different types of bad players in the Gold League, but today we're going to focus on one type in particular. It's unfortunately common in the lower elos that some players are only comfortable playing certain roles, whether that be because they don't have the experience, or these roles just don't gel with them. Some players also don't have decks for every hero, which is very understandable when they have low level accounts, so they tend to stick to certain heroes and roles. For the most part, as I said, this is completely innocent and understandable, as new players don't have too many deck slots, and obviously don't have the time to master every single role. To all the players out there that are part of this group and have a legitimate reason for only playing certain heroes or roles, my advice to you is to try and get practice with at least one of each hero role. It'd be very good for you to be able to play one ranger, one support, and at least two casters and two fighters, and also be able to get some practice in every single lane. This will give you flexibility to fill whichever role your team needs, and it'll greatly increase your chances of victory and help you grow as a player. Now, on to the buggers that don't have this issue with a low number of deck slots and don't have issues playing every character or role. You see, there are some players that play Paragon that are extremely selfish. They queue up for a match with the intention to only play one hero. Now, I'm not talking about the thousands of people that dodge queues when a new hero is released. The type of player that I'm talking about is much worse. The example that I have to describe these players happened just the other day. I was playing with Freak, and when we got into a draft, I chose any lane and Freak highlighted Decker off lane because crit Decker is disgusting. Another player had highlighted that he was going to off lane with Kwong. Now, although it may seem like off lane Decker and support Kwong aren't the best choices, I can get behind those decisions, but what was about to happen I definitely wasn't okay with. Seems that the other two players that were grouped up, one wanted to play Murdoch and the other, who was actually on my friends list, wanted to support him with Rampage. Initially, I didn't think it would be an issue. I thought we would politely convince the Kwong to take jungle, or failing that, Rampage, who I thought was a good player and a good person and was on my friends list, would simply just jungle and leave his friend to play with Kwong. Nope. They both just argued over who was going to be the support, while the Murdoch commented on how he'd rather have Decker support him, which I'm sure Freak thought was absolutely hilarious. So the match starts, and who do you think out of Kwong and Rampage ended up supporting Murdoch? Both of them. That may not seem like the biggest issue, as we could all just do a spot of jungling, but keep in mind how much more XP an offlaner gets compared to an ADC in safe lane. The ADC is sharing XP with his support. Now we had 3 players that were starved for XP. Should be all good though, because the 3 of them will destroy the solo offlaner, right? Nope. Those two were still too busy arguing with each other, and they actually got wiped quite a few times. It ended up being Freak's Decker and my Gideon holding the team together. We obviously lost the match. Freak and I did okay. Murdoch was alright. I think he was possibly a little bit inexperienced as a ranger, but he did okay. He just had 2 completely selfish teammates that were too busy trying to beat each other to a kill, instead of realizing that their carry needed to be peeled for and was getting destroyed behind them. Upon completing the match, as you would expect, the 2 of them were at each other's throats again, so I thought I'd chime in. I told them that we were all responsible for that loss, and that their childish behaviour definitely didn't help. The Kwong accepted that and left, while the Rampage continued to argue the point that Kwong was in the wrong. Even though Kwong was the first person to choose a hero and call a lane, Rampage, in my opinion, should have been flexible, even if the carrier was his mate. If I got $1 for every time that Freak and I were looking forward to playing Murdoch and Narbash, and then both had to play different roles because someone else wanted to be ADC, well, I'd probably have like $100 or something, but that's not the point. The point is flexibility. If you have the ability to cover any role but are too selfish and stubborn to do so, you are letting your team down. Paragon, like I keep saying, is a team-orientated game, and your team needs you. They might not need you to play the hero you really wanted to play, but that's life. My only suggestion to help you would be to ask politely if they mind you playing the hero you were set on. You may just be pleasantly surprised. If not, oh well, pick a different hero and move on. Now, this is something that I have put up with for quite a long time during the open beta phase, while I was in gold for half of that time. It's very, very prevalent, and I'm sure that it still is. I generally play, still just play with a couple of platinums and golds on the other team. A lot of the times we actually have silvers and golds. But I notice it happening quite a lot still, and it's something that needs to change. Not for me, and not for the game. The game will survive. I will survive. But you are a detriment to yourself while you are being selfish and stubborn and refusing to play anything but one single hero. Okay? It may be the most fun for you to play Murdoch. You might not like playing support, but unfortunately, it is the case that sometimes you have to do so. Play Steel. Have a bit of fun with Steel. He's a great support and he's a lot of fun. I realize that that's not exactly what you wanted, but we don't always get everything that we want in life. You're playing on a team with a bunch of other people, okay? If you are the last person to pick in that queue, unfortunately, you don't get first say. So if you want to play something, ask nicely or just put up and shut up. Well, that's it, guys. I'll have another one of these out soon, but for now, I'm off to record because I've bloody got nothing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please smash that like button. Let me know in the comment section whether you have come across this type of player and what your opinion is. Subscribe if you are not already, but as per usual, guys and gals, thank you so much for watching. I love you face, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.